Well, hello everybody. It has been a red hot minute since I've seen you. Sorry. It has been like crazy with family and all sorts of things going on, but I'm back and I'm crooked. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a very easy painting of, let's do daisies. This will just kind of be quick and it's going to be super easy, and I'll list everything out, all the colors I used below, and all the brushes. There won't be many, and of course it's brush of your choice, color of your choice, however you want to paint. It's great. So thank you so much for joining me, and let's get painting some daisies in a field. So I hope you can see this. Might have to back it up a little bit. I think that's a little better. I don't know where we're getting the shadow from, so hopefully that'll go away. Kind of weird. Okay, so hopefully I can get that shadow to go away. That looks like the steering wheel right there. Can you see it? It's not supposed to be there. So I'm starting with a 16 by 20, and I had something on here I didn't like, so you can tell I painted over it in light blues and grays, just to kind of give it, you know, just to make sure everything was covered. And I can still see some things, but I think it's going to add a little texture, which is fine. I'm going to use, to start with, we are going to use Pthalo Blue and titanium white. And any brand, maker, model works. Craft paints work, however you'd like it. Okay, so I got some out on my palette. We're going to go ahead and start with the sky. Now I always start, and it's just my preference on most paintings, is I start going from top to bottom and always back to front, so that I get the background in there and I don't have to worry about messing up anything else. So I just blended some Pthalo Blue and white together, and let's do the sky. Is going to come down about almost a halfway. So let's just kind of make that there. And this is very random strokes. We're not doing anything specific. We're not trying to blend or not blend. I'm just going to put in a unique textured sky. And I'm going to keep going back to my Pthalo Blue and my white. I put a lot of white into this part, so let's just lighten it up a little. Oops. Lighten it up a little bit this way. We can go back over things we don't like. Make sure all my gray is covered. And go this way. I think we'll lighten it up more to the left. And I will make sure you'll have the picture and everything posted before this actually comes out. Let's go up here and really lighten this out up here. And that way we know the light source is coming from the left-hand side. And a little more white here. Oops. Boy, they call it slinging paint. I am slinging some paint. So let's go about right here, I think. Almost halfway. Get some white in here, random. I drug some of the blue, which is great. Kind of giving it a funky little look. Maybe a little more white. And a little more white and blue this way. I think I'm going to go ahead and we're going to lighten up maybe towards the bottom a little. We got a little bit of, we're going to have a little bit of growth coming up down here of different colors, blue and purple. We'll lighten up the background a little bit, just across the bottom edge. We're going to have some things over that, so we'll just kind of smooth that out a little bit more. This, I kind of want to blend it in because I don't want it to stand out too bad. I just want to be able to see my purple trees and things that are going to be in the background. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. I'm getting a dried out brush here. It is hot here today. I'm going to add some white and blue. I'm just going to get it to where I kind of like it. And I just really want it random. And over here, I can still see the canvas a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of white. Let's just block that in there. Get rid of that. And you know, I think I'm going to add a little bit. I am going to use craft paint on this one because I really like this color. It's called Fresh Mango. It's Americana. You can buy it at Amazon, Hobby Lobby, probably Walmart even. And I'm just going to barely touch a little bit on my brush. And let's just kind of put that in the sky up here a little bit. Just a little bit of peach, kind of blend it in a little. just to give it a little bit of personality. A little bit more up here. And then I'll take the white, a little bit white. We're gonna go up here and kind of lighten it all up a little up here. And I still have the peach on my brush, so it is kind of, oops, making a little peach. My brush is dry, it's really dragging my canvas. Okay, just because I do like the peach, adds a little different colors. Okay, so now the next step is going to be this middle part, our horizon, which is gonna be kind of a purple. So we're gonna take some Phthalo Blue, oh, and I think a little bit of, let's use red ochre and white. Let's see what happens here. Get my red ochre in there with a lot of white. It starts out really dark. And I do kind of want a dark purple. It's almost a purpley gray. And I'm just gonna start tapping in here. We'll do a little bit of background here. And we're going to, I'm just touching it with the end of the brush, slapping it on there. Just to get different shapes and sizes. Kind of like trees in the background, some kind of a something growing back there, tall plants, however you want to think of it. And you can kind of see the red ochre didn't blend in all the way, which is great. I'm going to flip over my brush because I have different colors on that side from when I blended it. And I'm just going to tap that in here. And then let's start over here, take it about the same way, just tapping it. Oops. Tapping it. The bottom doesn't matter underneath. We're going to kind of cover that. We really just want this stuff on top. And let's make this a little, since the light is coming from over here, we're going to make this a little bit lighter. I had a little too much white in there. We'll just blend it in. And we'll make it kind of a light blue. See how that changed colors there to a light blue? And all I did was just touch my paintbrush to white. And I just started tapping away. And that's all I'm doing. And that way the light source is here, and then it gets darker as you go that way. Okay. A little darkness in there, which is good. I just pushed my brush down a little harder to get that darker color to come out of the brush where it was hiding. And we'll make this different sizes because I don't want it to be all same height. That's kind of boring. Okay. So that's good. We'll get rid of this white. It's a little too far over. That's okay. Alrighty. So now I kind of want a darker color. So, let's see. Let's rinse out my brush and let's use the Phthalo Blue. And I think a very light touch of black. Oh, I gotta get the black. Let's see. Okay. Get some black out. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black. I mean, there is very little black on that brush. And let's go ahead and blend that together and see how dark that's. Pretty dark, but I think that's okay. Actually, I'll get a little more black in there. I want it more, I just want it dark. And let's kind of give it a little break in here where it's darker. See the shadows? Give it some shadows underneath all that growth up there. And I'm just touching this brush to the canvas. And we're going to cover some of this too. And I don't want shadows everywhere, but I think kind of randomly throughout, give a little shadow down at the bottom where the horizon is. Kind of give it a little break there. And let's kind of soften those up a little. I kind of want it soft. Since it's a shadow, we'll bring it this way. I'm just touching it, tapping it, kind of blending it as it goes. I am not brushing. And as we go this way, it's getting lighter and lighter just because the paint's off my brush, which is great. We're gonna go lower. And that's probably good enough there. Alrighty. So now, let's go ahead and start with the ground here. So I'm going to start with, I think that fresh mango, that orangey color. Let's start with it for the ground and give that a try. Okay, so the more I looked at it, the more I don't like it. So I'm gonna get some white and touch of Phthalo Blue, and I'm going to redo part of that background just because I want it. Oops, my dog's in a howl. I kind of want it blended in back here. I don't want it really standing out that much. It's kind of standing out too much for my taste. You know, things are growing and it just kind of, I'm gonna blend that in a little. I'm gonna make it look how I want it to look here. I blended that a little bit and we'll put some more lines in there, blue, gray. And as we go, I'm just kind of touching it with that white and the Phthalo Blue mixture, just kind of lighten it up just a little bit. I just didn't like it. I still might not like it. Let's see what happens. But over here, we're gonna really lighten this up. And add a lot of white in there, just because that is where the light source is above it. And a little white this way, it won't hurt either. Some of the ones that are sticking up. And then that dark is there, which is fine. I'm just gonna kind of rub it in a little bit, kind of mix it in, okay. That's a little better. Almost looks like a city in the background. So really, I guess it could be whatever you want it to be, which is how all paintings are. They change as we go. And I'm more concerned, oops, turned off my light. I'm more concerned about my flowers than I am. Why is all my electricity going off here? Okay. Sorry, technical issues. Where is it plugged in at? It is this one right here. Okay, let's try this again. Huh. Well, darn. Oh, I know what's happening. Sometimes my power strip goes off. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, and it's not a surge protector. I think it just leans on the on-off switch. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the peach. And I do apologize. I am using the 1-inch flat. So I'm going to grab some peach and maybe a little bit of the white. I'm not going to blend it. And let's go ahead and kind of start putting this field in here. Just kind of random. Make it rough. We're going to add a bunch more colors. And let's use a little white and a little more peach. And this time we're going to lighten up the peach quite a bit. We'll do the light peach. And it's coming up underneath, over the background just a little bit. So it's growing up there. And a little more peach and white. And we're just going to kind of put it in here random. I'm just doing little short strokes, just pushing the paintbrush into the canvas and push down and pull up. And that's all I'm doing. Just to kind of give it that little grassy look, I guess. And let's add some white. And I think there's still a little blue on my brush, which is fine if you get other colors in here, because we'll be adding that too. And down here, we'll make it a little darker. Let's see if I can do this good. This gray's kind of throwing me off just a little bit because I want it to be bright colored. Dark but bright. Does that make sense? So do some random strokes here. And then just kind of touch it throughout. And let's move over a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more white. And let's do more white at the top here, because it's closer to the light source. And then as we go across, we'll add a little white and orange. We're just going to do like the little growing field of peach and white, and you can just do random dark and light peach and white color. So there's a little white, just some random strokes. And we're going to go back over this with other colors. So This is just kind of your base look here, just to get the field in. And there's a little white down here. I'm gonna use the end of my brush and kind of pull it up in smaller strokes down here. This is where the flowers will start, roughly. And then I'm gonna use just a little bit of the red ochre and put it in the corner. It's dark shadow. Let's just kind of bring it up underneath. Can be a little shadow. I'm just gonna rub it in. It's very little bit of paint. And let's do just another little bit of paint again. I kind of like that color down there. That kind of looks cool. So this is off the cuff. So, you know, you just need to paint it how you like it and the colors that you like and the strokes you like. And make it be your own. And I'm just scrubbing some of that red ochre in there. And let's take maybe some more of the orange color and go up here. What's it called? Mango, fresh mango. I can't remember that. Save my life. Okay. We're going to put that up here. And you know, I'm going to get a little touch, tiny. I just barely touched that red ochre. And let's put some dark in here. Let's blend that in with that orange. Just kind of give it some shadow here behind, because that's where the flowers will be kind of growing more, is in the middle. Well, I guess they're really everywhere, but I just kind of picture them all kind of right there coming out. Okay, some peach and some peach and white. And this is just a random look, random strokes. Make it however you want to make it. Made it kind of light back here, but you know, I think we'll add another color back here anyway. Now I'm doing some big strokes. We'll add some more color there. And let's just do the peach over here. And this is just a fun, do however you want to do it on the field, make it your own. And use whatever colors you want to use. I just kind of liked this orange color. Gosh, I can't remember the name. Fresh mango. I like the fresh mango, so I just went into the blue, which is great. I'll bring the blue down in here, which looks kind of cool, because I'm just not bothered a whole bunch from that. And we'll do some more white. And let's do some more peach since it's darker over here, and we'll probably end up adding a little red ochre. Make it a little darker to the right-hand side. And I am just slapping that on there. So I'm kind of going up and down and all around and just kind of randomly putting my brush strokes in there. A little bit more than it was back there. Back there I kind of wanted it to look like grass was sticking up, or you know, the growth was sticking up. And this I'm just kind of trying to cover. And let's use a little white and the fresh mango. I'll remember that one of these days. And maybe a little more white over there. Let's add a little bit more white over here. Let's just kind of lighten that up. We'll probably add a little yellow and lighten that all up more even. Let's go up here. We're at a little bit more white. Now I have not cleaned my brush, so this is not pure colors. You know, this is a mixture of the blue and the fresh mango and the white and the red ochre. So I'm just making sure the canvas is covered. And I think I'm gonna get a little touch of that red ochre. I want you to be able to see this. I'm gonna put it over here in this corner where it popped up blue. I'll just do some growth up here with some red ochre. I'm just going up and down, up, so it kind of comes off the canvas and kind of pops color up. And then down below, I'm just gonna blend a little bit in. Now, I think, let's brighten it up a little bit, and let's use just a touch of, I got the yellow light, and this is, I hope it's still available. If not, just use a really light yellow, bright yellow, and that way it's just gonna kind of really stand out. See, and I'm just gonna put it in some areas, just for some bright color. See how bright that is? I don't want it too far down here. Let's wipe that in. We'll just blend that in with my thumb. And then just kind of random yellow. just because I really kind of want it to pop a little bit around the flowers. And we'll just put some yellow in there just because I like it. It's gonna, see how much that brightened that whole thing up? That made that so bright. So let's put a little yellow back in here. And I kind of have some dark underneath, but I think that's okay for now. I might have to kind of lighten that up maybe, I'm not sure. So we're just gonna put some yellow. I'm gonna go all the way down here. Definitely want some yellow mixed in here. Hello, Jupiter. My big German Shepherd came in to, he's wondering who I'm talking to. He wants to meet my friends. Okay. So now, I don't want to show any like real serious brush strokes on the peach color. I kind of want that to be like the growth. Let's use a little bit of blue, a little of the Phthalo Blue with a lot of white. And let's make that a really light blue. And let's kind of put some light blue down here. Just like growing. It's just gonna be like shadows of what's growing in the grass. And we're gonna kind of pull all the flowers from maybe down here. Put some blue in there for shadow. I am doing this totally random. And I'm gonna put a little bit more, it's a little darker, maybe this side a little darker. And maybe just kind of random. Some blue in places just because I want some blue out there. And it's turning green, which is great. Give me a little bit extra color. So now it's kind of a Mod Podge. I mean, you can't really, over here, I'm gonna put this blue up here so it's kind of coming off like the rest of them are. Kind of sticking up a little bit. And now let's use, we need a gray, I think. So let's just use a little bit of, I'm gonna use a detail brush like this, long, thin detail brush. I'm going to use very little black with some white. We're gonna make a very light gray. And something like this, right? And I'm gonna add just a touch of the red ochre to give it a little bit of a different color. Kind of want a little brown looking in there. Well, add just a little bit of red ochre. So now I've got a kind of a medium gray. I'm gonna use a little water. We're gonna make this pretty wet, like almost inky. And we're going to start from the bottom and let's just draw us some, paint us up some little stems. But I think I need a thinner, let's do a little thinner on the paint. And let's try this. I don't want this too thin because this is gonna be kind of like those big rough pieces that stick up and grow, big wide pieces on top. Kind of like, almost like hay or straw, I guess. It kind of looks like, I should know because we have hay in the backyard, but you know, kind of like straw. So we're gonna do these long pieces up in here, like so. And kind of down here. They don't have to be, you know, perfect or straight, or definitely not straight. And we're just gonna grow them out like this. Maybe up through the middle. And I am just putting my brush on the canvas flat, actually. And I did kind of like that, but you can use the tip and just drag it up real soft, the tip only. And we're just gonna grow some of this long grass. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of that gray and let's kind of make this a little bit rougher here. It's a little too wet. So let me add a little black and blue. Make it a little not so drippy. It might drip and that's okay. A little gray, and we're just gonna, I'm just touching it to give it a little bit of width up here, like it's got some growth on there. And then maybe a little stem sticking out the top. Like that. and grow it out like that. And so this is kind of a, almost like, I guess like straw really, some kind of weed that's growing. And then we'll grow it a little bit fatter down here and a little bit down here. And I'm just touching the canvas randomly. And then this one will go up here, and we're just gonna add just a little bit to this guy. And then like that. So it looks like it's kind of flowing. Let's take another one like this. And let's just make it flow this way. Maybe like it's bending in the wind. A little bit. I'm just barely touching this with the end of my brush, kind of letting it do whatever it wants to do. And I'll move that just a little bit out this way. Yeah. And then on the other side, we'll also do a little bit of the growth over here. Kind of like that end rough piece. I'll do another one coming up here, just because I just felt like it needed to be there. And then, let's see, do one out of this guy. Add a little bit of growth here. And you can add it however you want it. You can put whatever you want to on there. I'm just giving a little bit of, you know, kind of a growth or a movement to it, you know, making it look like it's not just some kind of a stem sticking up there with nothing on it. Just a few will be that way though. And we definitely want a few just random of these weeds sticking up. And let's go through here even. Go through the top. And now I think what we'll do is, let's go ahead and start on the flowers. So the nice thing about daisies is that they are pretty simple to paint. I'm going to use a round brush like this. And this is so old, I don't even have the size on it anymore. I think it's 6 maybe. And so it's pretty thick. And it's not really soft, but see how it's rounded and pointed. And so we're going to use that to make those daisy petals. And we're going to start off with using, let's start off with using pure white and see how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to dip my brush in the paint and round it off like that so it's round on the end. You just scroll in and I'll show you my messy palette here. I'm just going to roll it in the white like that. Oops, it's a little too much, but got blue on there. Roll it in the white. And this one will be blue too, and that's okay. And let's just kind of put one, let's put one up here. So what I do is, that's too much paint. I'm gonna get a little paint off. So what I do is, I start with one petal like this. I push down and bring it all the way down and pull it up. Okay? And daisies don't have to be pointed at the end, but most of them are, and we'll do it like this. Now, you see the blue's fine. So to keep it together, so I don't get way out of sync, I'm going to do this one. And then let's say we're going to do a 3 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. And then we can fill in the others because now we have a basis to where the rest of them should go. And that's it. Daisies are the most simple thing, or they can be complex if you want them complex. So let's do one like this. And this one I think we're just gonna do half. So let's do it like this and we'll bring them up. And I'm just touching the brush and pulling it up. Touch the brush, pull it up. And we're gonna leave it half and we'll put the little crown on it so it's half there. So now you can roll your brush and paint and you can put your daisies wherever you want them. I'll put one here. And we're going to do the little clock trick. So we'll go 3 and 9. And then I'll do 1, 11, whatever that is, 4 and 7. So that's it. And we can just put them everywhere we want daisies. In any shape, any size, however you'd like them to be. This is your painting. Make it however you want. I'm going to put 2 there just because it needed to be filled. And daisies aren't perfect, but that one's a little too long. So let's make all these guys a little longer to kind of go with that one that I made. And we'll do a little one down here. Now I'm getting blue in there, but I don't mind. So it just, there was blue on the brush whenever I ran it into the paint. And that's okay by me. We're just gonna put some little ones down here. I'm just pushing it and pulling it, push and pull. I'm just putting it flat on the canvas and pulling. And that's all there truly is to it to make easy daisies. Now these are just, the perception is that's what they are, daisies. So they are daisies. And you can do a lot of petals, a few petals. You can make them not round and on the end. You can, you know, daisies are amazing things and they grow all sorts of different ways. All shapes and sizes. Let's put one up here. And let's do another one here. Make this one a little bigger. And I am really just putting these on here randomly. And with different amount of petals. Again, it's however you want it to be. And this is a great painting for paint classes. If you want to teach something really easy in your paint class, it's easy to do on your own. We can add shadows. We can add a lot more detail to make it look a little more realistic. And let's see, let's maybe do one here. I will way overdo daisies. It'll be like a field of craziness. And there's a lot of blue on that, but that's okay. It kind of looks like it's in the shadow. And let's do maybe a half one here. And maybe do a half one here. And let's do one here. Oops, that's way too much paint. That's kind of blue, and that's fine too. And I might go over some of them and make them a lot more white, but if you want to, you can add a little blue, and then they kind of fade into the background, like back here. Just put one, just little lines. They kind of look like they're in the background a little bit. Nothing perfect, just little pieces, like they're further away. Kind of just little pieces. And that way they kind of fill it in a little bit in the background, and looks like they're going back over here. And I am just literally touching the canvas and making it just a little shape. Any kind of shape you want. Just kind of looks like a flower in the background. This one's up close, so let's make him a flower. Let's do this. We'll just change him into a flower real quick. Okay, and maybe add some white up here. I'm just gonna touch a little white into this gray, just to give it a little bit of, because it's near the sun or near the light source, we'll make it a little bit white. Maybe this side on this one and this one. I'll just kind of bring it down. Don't want it to be too dark here. And I'm just barely touching it, as you can tell, just kind of giving it a little misty cover of sun or of light. Make this one a little bit more white. That one's kind of going into the background, which is really nice because it's kind of disappearing. And let's see, let's make some go into the bottom of the canvas down here. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, 11, 1, and that kind of disappears down in there. And maybe another one kind of just sticking up a little bit. And then maybe one here. Very easy. So I want them a little bit more in the middle here, since they seem to be kind of coming from this area. And maybe one here. They can overlap if you want them to overlap each other, however you'd like to do it. And then maybe one kind of up here. Just like a little one, barely there. That's just kind of barely there. I barely touched it. There's very little paint on my brush. It kind of looks a mess, and that's fine too, because we have some messy ones falling down in here, growing up in the background. I'm just touching the canvas in different places just to add a little color and a little personality. And over here, I don't want to forget this side. I kind of left this side blank, didn't I? Maybe one more flower there. Let's try one more flower here. And that's it. And I kind of like that, actually. I really do like how that looks. So now what we're going to do is now we have to work on the middle piece. I will kill an air fern because I can't grow anything. So I don't know what it's called, but the little centerpieces, they're soft, and the little that go in the middle. I just can't remember what they're called. Anyway, so they're usually orange or yellow. So we're going to use our fresh mango. And let's use the fresh mango. And all I did was put it on the round brush, and I'm just going to kind of touch it kind of on the bottom part of that, where I want it to be, because we're going to put yellow on top. So I'll take that and that. And if you don't like them, you can always go back over your flowers and make them brighter white. And this one gets it underneath. And this one. And I'm just kind of putting in kind of almost a U shape. Right, so it's kind of the bottom portion. We'll stick some orange out here just because that's light. This one kind of goes, oops, I need more. And this one will kind of stick up a little above the white there. And it's like a U, see that? And we'll do a U here, just kind of plop it in. I'm not making it perfect. And then maybe some orange, some of this mango just kind of out here, just to add a little color, and just some, make that a little lighter. And just kind of add a little, maybe a little longer. Just, I don't know, just add a little bit of personality and color so it doesn't look boring. So now I am going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of that, what was it called? Yellow light. And we're going to do the top part of this. So we're going to fill it in on the top with yellow. So the bottom part's orange and the top part's kind of yellow. It doesn't have to be perfectly split in the middle. You just want the orange and the yellow on there. You can blend it when you get it together. And see how that brightened that up quite a bit. So more yellow paint here. And, oops, I forgot one. So let's do the top, and I'll come back and do the mango here in a second. Blend that in. Kind of just put that yellow on the top. This is another half one. And I missed another one. Look at that, look at that. Yellow, 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 yellow. Okay. So now let me go back to those two and get the orange here. I'll just kind of blend it in a little. And here, make sure that has orange. There was another one, wasn't there? I'm sure I'll find it. Oh, there it is. And a little bit of orange right here on my half of one. And now let's just kind of make sure they're blended, you know, in the middle pretty good. They kind of blend together, that yellow and orange, so it's not too separated. So it looks like one piece in the middle. And we'll just kind of touch them. I'm just barely touching them to kind of blend them a little together in the middle, so it doesn't look too separated. Okay. Oops, messed up. That's okay. It happens. Flowers aren't perfect. Now what I really want to do is I want to give it a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to use my detail brush again. I rinsed it, this long detail brush. And let's dip just the tip into the red ochre, just a tiny bit. And let's kind of give this little guy a shadow, barely touch it. And we'll kind of blend it in a little bit there with it. And we're just going to kind of give it a shadow here. So and you can blend it in with your finger. It just needs to be really light. There's a lot of water on my brush, which is helping. And I'm just kind of giving it a shadow underneath to kind of darken it up just a little bit underneath that orange. Sorry, that would be the Pomeranian. He is the, oops, I need more paint. He is my couch king, and he sits on the couch and sings his song of his people, and he loves it and lets everybody know. So that's who you're hearing. He's carrying on a conversation. Okay, so I barely touched that one too. I just didn't like how dark it was, because that's a pretty light flower, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm gonna kind of blend that in a little and touch it. I kind of like that rough look. And we'll just add this in here into here. And then what we'll do is kind of just blend it in. You can also do this like a dry brush and just run another brush a little bit over it so it blends it just a little bit, because that other paint that we just put on there is drying really quick because it's a thin coat. I just wanted a little, I wanted another color on here. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be a U shape, it just needs to be on there just to kind of darken up underneath. And this one got a little too dark, but look at that. I just touched it and made it better. Okay, we're gonna add a little paint. This one's still a little wet. So we're just going to kind of touch it and get it together. And over here, we're gonna just kind of touch it or dry brush it, however you want to do it. And I'm just kind of blending it together, making it look rough, because these guys, you know, all this stuff on top is kind of fuzzy. It's not real smooth from what I've seen. And I think I kind of touched them all. Let's get rid of that. Oops, messed that up, didn't I? Oh well, look at that, blended right in. And we're just gonna touch all these little guys. I kind of took the paint up on that, so let's put that back on. And let's do a little more peach. I pulled the paint up on this guy. My fault. And let's do a little yellow just on top. See, I'm just fixing my happy little accident. That's okay. And then there you have it. So you can, man, you can play with this all day long. You can add colors. You can go back over your flowers and make them really pop. Let's do that real quick. I'm just gonna use my liner brush I've got here. And if you want them to pop, you just go right back over them. You can redo the centerpiece just however you want to do it. And see, that's pretty bright up in there. And this one's kind of faded, but I kind of like the faded look. Actually, they kind of, I think they look okay that way. So let's see how it looks here in a few minutes, and we'll see if we need to do anything else or if we're just gonna sign it and let her go. we'll see what happens. I look forward to seeing all of your paintings. I really do hope you post them. But take a look and see what else you'd like to do, and I look forward to seeing it. Hope you had a lot of fun doing the daisies. It's daisies are very simple. It really is. It comes down to how much detail you want them to have, the type of background you want them to have, you know, just how many you want to have. You might only want one daisy in your painting and have one lone daisy grow up. But so there's ours that we did today. And I really hope you paint this, and I would really like for you to post it so I could see what they look like. You can post it here on Patreon. You can post it on my Facebook, Teresa Parker Art, on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm pretty much anywhere. So please post it and tag Teresa Parker Art, or post it under on my account. I don't know what that means, but I think it's post it on my account or tag me. And I look forward to seeing everything. So until next time, keep painting, keep practicing, and have fun. Thanks. Bye.